listen, Shwan, I'm not a mental health expert, and we just said, look, let's go on this journey and see where we land.
So, hi everyone, welcome to Business Pole Podcast. It's been a long time. I know. For those of you who are paying attention, and for those of you who are not, it doesn't matter. Here I am, I'm back. So, my name's Erkan Ali. I'm business consultant, coach, and content creator, and recently stand-up comedian, which I'll talk about that later. So, I'd like to welcome a very special guest who I haven't seen or spoken to in probably almost a decade. We were trying to work it out earlier on, so hopefully during the show we'll work it out. So I've got Shwan Al-Barzangi. I got it right
Yep,
because I
you
could
got
never.
it right.
I got it right. Okay, so I just
Listen,
got
it's
better
one of
known
the
as
more
Shwan.
polite things I've been called in my life, so it's all good.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be insulting you straight off the. So Shwan, I mean, like we've known each other from a long time ago, and the reason I
Yeah,
was really delighted that you made. I think we just got in touch last week, and it's been a long time. We got chatting. I said, would you come on the show? I haven't done one in ages, and you gracefully have given your time on a Sunday to come and chat and talk about what experience we had working together and how life has been. So, before I go any further, how would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
yeah. I'm Shwan AL-Barzangi, based in London. I've known Erkan a very, very long time. But we've probably both been terrible at keeping in contact. But you have a very special place in my heart. We shared some incredible experiences together. Um, and yeah, delighted to have the opportunity to, reconnect really last week. And yeah, be on your show.
No, it's
So looking forward to this.
great to have you here. So I will recall it as I remember it, and you correct me or give me your version because you know how we all remember these things
Yeah,
differently. If I remember correctly, it was a very good friend of ours, Ali Mardi,
yeah.
that recommended you contact me. And it was actually it's such a beautiful story. So Ali's a very good friend of mine who I have a lot of respect for. Beautiful human being, like really good friends. And a lot of the way I get clients is through friends and people I've worked with to say, you got to speak with Erkan, he can help you. And so what do you recall is what was your request when you got in touch?
I was at a very strange time in my life then. I think it was, I want to say 2010, 2011. I
Hmm.
had just about graduated. And then I started, I've always been ambitious, if you like, so that there was like specific things I wanted to achieve. And you know what it's like, you're young, you just fresh out of uni. And me and Ali's son, Omar, were, besties, went to kind of school, uni together, live in the same area. And, they always spoke very highly of you. So, think we kind of, I started to have some sort of, let's say, some challenges as well around that time. Around anxiety and just feeling a bit out of the loop and out of control. And they recommended that you and I connect and have a conversation. So it's like life coach slash, and I know you're not a mental health professional, but like with a mental health angle, which, I remember, you said, listen, Sean, I'm not a mental health expert, and we just said, look, let's go on this journey and see where we land. So
I
it
think
was
I think
a it was
I
a very
think
interesting time.
I think you've rolled forward a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've
Take me
rolled.
back. It's been a
Yeah,
long
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. That's what so you got in touch because you'd come out of uni. You had
Yeah,
this politics and international
relations.
relations,
Yeah,
which I still don't know what that means. And you had this
you and me
degree.
both.
So you had this degree, and you said, "Look, I can't get a job doing what I'm qualified
Oh
for."
yeah,
Yeah, and
you're right.
I've got a job selling cars, and
Yeah,
you can help me sell cars. And I was like, "Yeah, of course I can help you with that." That was the first time.
oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
I would have thought. I think that was like '09, '08, '09. I don't know. When did you come out?
Yeah. Uh, end of '09, beginning of 2010. Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
man. Yeah,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And at that time, there was no mention of.
Anxiety at that time, you're
anxiety
right.
or
Came
mental
after.
health issues or anything like that. It was a straight up,
Yeah,
it was a straight up gig about I don't know how to sell and I want to sell and I want to be successful. And it was that kind of it was a straight conversation, as
yeah,
far as I
you're right.
remember it. And
You're just taking me back, mate.
and you were trying to sell cars and you'd never been trained. You've got a degree.
Yeah,
You're trying to get a job. That degree hasn't. Well, I don't want to comment about the degree because I don't know enough.
yeah, yeah,
But essentially, you were trying to get a job in your field, and you didn't, and you got a job out of your field. You're out of
yeah,
your skill set, and you wanted to learn how to sell. So that's what I remember about the first time. And I
yeah,
said,
you're right.
I said, let's do 3 months. I think that should do it. And we just got into doing 3 months together. So, you want to take it
You're
over from
right.
there?
You're right. Yeah, I now actually also remember that there was one day that I sold 6 cars on the same day. And within the business park where I worked, there was like a number of different car dealers, and nobody had sold 6 in one day because they're all secondhand cars. You're not talking about going into like a Ford dealership or what have you. So yeah, yeah, you did take me back. When I graduated now that I'm trying to get back into that mental space,
Long time
in
ago.
2010, it was like post '08 crash.
Yeah.
Life was at a funny place. We had this huge challenge, which I don't know if kids these days still do, around you have too many qualifications and not enough experience, and then you have no experience or too much experience with no, relevant, let's say, degree to go with it. Nowadays, I think, people do a lot more apprenticeships and various different stuff. So that time was actually quite challenging. I remember, I just wanted to kind of make ends meet, loads and loads of ambition, which we'll talk about. That was probably the second connect we had. Loads of ambition to kind of do well and achieve these life goals, and you know,
Yeah. And
and
what
then
what I
we
remember,
talked about
yeah,
got into cars. It started as a part-time gig, and then I ended up doing it for a long time. And funnily enough, I've never really left it since. I always, I always have that odd 2 or 3 cars on the side that I'm sort of selling, and I know where to source from, and that's sort of like my pocket money on the side, if you like.
so you so
Make a little few hundred quid and pay off a credit card bill.
you're
So
still wheeling
that
and
skill's
dealing.
still with me, mate.
Wow. Right. So one of the things that I say to people that want to come and work with me, I say, listen, what we do is we get breakthroughs now. So you solve those
Yeah,
problems. You can impact the value of yourself. Usually generally I work with businesses as a whole, but businesses are people. And then
yeah,
there's the long-term payback. So it kind of hits in 3 stages. It's overcoming the problem you got, shoring up
yeah.
the skill set, and then the compounded effect over time. So here we are, you know, how
Long
many
time
years,
later.
long time late, many years later, and you're still reaping the benefits of that work, which we did what for
Yeah,
3 months, which was
yeah. I think once you start to, in anything in life, once you start honing in on the skill, right? And I think really within the sales space, it's like that human touch and that connection with people, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all people. You have a good to sell, they have a good that they want to buy, but it's how do you get that comfort in between to so that they buy it from you and not the person next to you, right?
mm,
So, I think even to this day, and as you say, I came as a referral. We built a relationship. We haven't spoken in years, and we can still have this conversation, right? Like
yeah.
that's the type of skill that you pick up, not necessarily just from sales, but from understanding that, when you're on the other side, you know, yes, somebody wants to buy a good, but they want to feel comfortable that they're buying it from somebody they can trust, or somebody who's going to be honest with them, or somebody that's going to, make them feel comfortable. And you start to build that rapport and that relationship, right? So I've taken that with me, it's touched all elements of my life, right? And sort of looping it back to cars, despite the fact that I've left cars, I work in financial services. I have been for, you know, probably 12 years plus. Um, I still have that, sort of cars on the side. That's my pocket money. I'll go and pay bills with it or whatever it is. So that that skill set and that element never left, right? In terms of those particular goods. But then within my workspace, I also built a relationship or a reputation rather that I'll always get things done. So I've built those relationships across the pond, right? I service the US, I service Asia, plus London, right? And there's people that I've never met, but we've spoken over Zoom or Teams or Skype in the past, and um, it's that element of trust, right? And you build that from some of the skills that we work through, right? It's about that human level and sort of connecting with people as people, right? The selling comes, right? The delivery comes, the reputation comes, but it comes from a place of building a human, sort of
Right.
touch, you
Just to
know?
add to that, to reaffirm that. I mean, I've always said, like my skill set is breakthrough approach. Like how do we cause a breakthrough in any particular? And sometimes people say, well, but what do you know about accounting? What do you know about I don't know, property development, or what do you know about what?
Yeah,
So look, if I have to teach you how to do what you do, you're in bigger trouble than I can help you with. But if you want to have a break,
absolutely.
if you want to have a breakthrough in whatever area you need it, that's how we do it, right? And one thing for me about sales, really simply, is you don't sell to people, you help them buy. And
I agree.
that's a very different posture shift, and if you help people buy, that means you're helping them get what they want. And there's a very famous quote by Zig Ziglar that says, you can have anything you want in life as long as you help enough other people get what they want. And it's actually it's reversing that kind of, I'm going to get them, I'm going to close them. I'm like, how can you close someone? I mean, that's that whole
Yeah.
closing somebody sort of.
Transactional.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very transactional. It kind of disrespects both parties. It's a little bit overly transactional. And I think if you are a problem solver and you compound that with good relational skills and good listening and good feedback, and you're just a half sensible person, it's actually not that difficult. And obviously, just to add, there is a caveat. Your product's got to be good as well. I mean, otherwise,
yeah,
like if you've got a good car to sell and it's priced right, why wouldn't they buy your car? If it solves the problem that they have, or your pizza or whatever it is you are selling. And we're all selling
yeah.
something, you know.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I echo that, right? But that, and without sort of, I don't know, without diverging too much, right? But it's if somebody comes to you and feels that they have bought the car, for example, or any good from the right person, right? Then essentially, if something goes wrong a week later, they know that they can contact you and you'll be human enough to help them through that journey, right? Now, who incurs the cost, whether it's yourself or whether it's not, right? The fact that you've kind of built that, let's say, after sales relationship, that comes from building that trust in the beginning to say, I trust this person enough to take X or Y good from them or service from them, right? So I think it touches many ways and it allows for the longevity of relationships. And, they do say, like one good review can go to three people, right?
Yeah,
One bad review will go to 10 plus people,
yeah.
right? So
I think the ratio
uh,
is higher than that as well. You know.
probably,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
so, so you kind of want to like, be true to yourself as well. I think there's an element of that, right? It's not just necessarily I've sold and I've closed and see you later, I've taken my cut, right? Like sometimes you actually have to look at the bigger picture because you're building something, you're building a business or you're building a brand or you're building a reputation or so I think people need to kind of get into that mindset before they can, think
Yeah,
about the
listen,
product that they're selling,
I
right?
think I could pause, stop the video, and leave it there because
Yeah,
true to yourself is probably the cherry on almost every one of my engagements that I do with individuals or business. Be true to yourself. Be true to your values.
yeah,
And going back to the car thing, I mean, like you sell something. It doesn't matter what you sell. Sell them something. They buy something off you. You've solved
yeah,
that problem, and you've done it in a human way. You've done it in a fair way, and things do go wrong. That's life. I think
yeah,
where a lot of that stress and anger and problems come is you've got to cut it off at the pass. I don't know if you've heard that statement before, but it's like deal with that problem up front. Like here's our
yeah,
warranty strategy. Here's what's covered. Here's what's not covered. And I think it's like when people say, "Yeah, yeah, don't worry, anything wrong with the car, bring it back." No, and that's overselling, as we call it, right? Like,
100%.
you promise way more than you can deliver, and then what happens? Inevitably, they come back and there is an issue, and then you say, "Sorry, we don't cover that." And they go,
Yeah.
"Hold on a
Yeah.
minute, you told me, yeah, but look at the paper." Like if you work in a way that has integrity, and
I
it's
agree.
it's thought through, then it's better giving the straight information up front, and then people you manage expectations, and then if you do solve a problem outside of that expectation, then you're like a hero. Like
Exactly that.
you're a hero, and then it's like, oh, you're gonna buy a car, you gotta go and see, Shwan, or you gotta go see Erkan, or you gotta go see, because then
Yeah.
people become your advocates, and that's something that I think a lot of short-term selling, transactional selling really misses that. It's
I
a long game.
I couldn't have said it any better, right? Like I think, especially in the car field, anyone you talk to, they say all dealers are dodgy, right? But that's because, right, and I'll take it back to this. If I asked you now to go and open a new email address with any vendor you choose, are you going to read the small print, right?
Have you ever?
Why do you expect somebody that's going to come buy a car from you to know it the way you know it, right?
Exactly.
So essentially, you're walking them through this journey that they're about to go on, right? It could be buying a house, it could be buying, a car, it could be buying anything, right? And you just tell them, look, this is what's covered. You know, I can't call out everything that's covered, but in general, certain things are general wear and tear, certain things are more foundational. The laws are there to protect you, right? High level, this is what it is. We will help, we will guide you. If you need a garage, we can try and call in a favor at a better price, but things will go wrong at some point in time. If you're upfront about that, right, and people know, then essentially like they're buying into you, right? And
100%.
then they buy the product, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
a
yeah.
tire blows up, it's not my fault, but I'll help you, right? I'll tell you there's a good tire shop there with a 10% off if you use my name, right? And people come back to you because of that, right? Rather than they come back to you and say, well, you told me everything's covered. I've just blown up a tire, and say, well,
Yeah,
you
it's on
hit a
you
nail.
now.
It wasn't me, It's a different, just like you
Yeah.
kind of touched on, right? It's
Do you want
it's
to know
about
my?
how you go on that journey.
I was working for Volkswagen Audi back when they were a joint franchise back in the, I don't know, before I went to Thailand, so that'd been 93, 94, right?
Can
Probably
show your age there,
probably
Erkan,
before you were born,
yeah.
right? And it was like I'd only been there like 3 months or whatever, and I used to buy and sell cars as a from the age of 19, so it wasn't selling cars wasn't a problem. But he come over to me, he said to me, "You're not selling any warranties." I said, "Yeah, but they're a waste of time." He goes, "No, they're not. Come here, let me explain to you what warranties do and what they don't do." So he explained all that to me, and I went, "Oh, I should be selling because you're losing a whole load of commission if you're not selling warranties,
Commission,
right?"
yeah,
And then I thought to myself, because I listen to a lot of audios and books and whatever, it's like, what's your pitch for the warranty? This is the thing that I say to people, well, what's your pitch for the whatever? Yeah, what's your pitch? Like, you should always be
tell
pitching.
it to me.
Yeah, sell it. Help me buy what it is you're pitching, right? So I used to say to people, we offer 3 months, minimum warranty as part of what's back then. This is like back then, a legal requirement. But cars go wrong. This car will go wrong. I used to tell her, right? And they look at me. I said, well, it's guaranteed it will go wrong. I promise you, it will go wrong, right? Because cars do. I said, listen, would you buy a new car without a warranty? No. I said, so you want to buy a new car without a warranty, right? Brand new BMW out of the showroom, and you wouldn't buy it without. If they said to you, look, you can have this BMW, no warranty, you would go, no, thank you, right? So why are you buying a second-hand car, which has got much more, percentage chance of going
Susceptible to
wrong?
go wrong, yeah,
The steps of the wrong, and they go, yeah, you're right. And then after that, every car I sold went out with a warranty because I believed in it. And I
yeah,
understood what the warranty does and doesn't cover, how much benefit it gives the client, and it is an insurance policy. At the end of the day, the best thing about I used to say that the best thing that can happen with this warranty is you never have to claim and you lost the 300 quid. But that'll be
yeah,
over 3 years or whatever it was, right? So you'll look back in 3 year goes, we never had to claim. Brilliant. The worst thing that could happen is you claim and it pays up to, I don't know, 3,000, 5,000, whatever the warranty is,
exactly.
you know?
Cost you the
Um,
car again.
yeah, so the worst thing is you're gonna lose 300 quid over 3 years. The worst thing is something will happen and you're not covered, and that's it. After that, every car went out. So anyway, let's get off cars. So
Yeah,
we did this thing, and my explanation of it is you came to me, you wanted a breakthrough in an area that you were not achieving the results you wanted. We did the work, and then you became like top salesman. I remember the last time we spoke
Yeah.
about that is you were like riding high. Everything's great. I've done my job. I got paid, and you got your return on investment. That's the other thing that I like to see is that if someone
Yeah.
spends 1,000 or 10 or whatever it is, they get that back, and they get back a return. So then I said my pitch on that is, then you get me for free. If I'm paying my way by working with you, then you kind of, yes, you have to prime it and you have to put some work in and you got to do the work. But after that, I'm helping you become more viable. So I didn't hear from you for, I don't know, I'd say about 18 months.
Before you go there, right? I got a thought that I got to share, right? Um, I told you in that business park, and there was about 15, 20 dealers in that business park. There was a time where I sold six in a day, right? And back then, I used to get 25 to 30 quid cash for every car I would sell as my own commission, right? So if you do the maths, right, at 25, that's 150, right? And if I look at your costs at the time, right, for
They,
those three
by the
months,
way, they were
it
mates.
didn't take me very long,
They were
right?
mates rates.
Yeah, they were mates rates. No, but I mean, like, it was a long time ago, right? When I look at the rate for 3 months and then I look at what I was able to do in one day, right? Not 1 week,
Mm.
not 1 month, right? You're absolutely spot on that it becomes free consulting because you're making your ends meet on the other side, right? That doesn't take into account the wage or the salary or whatever it is that you're doing. And really what I want to touch on there is a lot of the time, and I've been guilty of this in the past, you can be quite short term in your thinking, right? And you're thinking, I'm going to be out of pocket, right? But if you switch that mentality and say, I'm going to actually ace this because I'm going to learn X, Y, and Z,
Mm.
right? You can actually make that money back in a very quick period of time, which makes whatever service pretty much free. It's not free, nothing in life's free, but you're making it up in a
Yeah,
different way.
yeah. I
So
mean,
I kind of just want your audience to also think about that, right?
thank
Because
you.
we can all be guilty, right? I've been guilty of, I don't have, I don't know, 500 quid. I don't have 1,000 quid to spend on someone just talking to me, right? But it's not someone just talking to me. It's somebody actually guiding you. You can pick up the phone, you can send them a message, you can meet them for a coffee. And it's those small niggly bits where you take a real life example of had a difficult customer that came in and was being like this, like how would you have approached it? As an example, right? In a world where many people don't give you time, right? Because time is also money, right?
Yeah, I
You
just
can
want
actually get your time back and your money back very, very
I
quickly.
want to, I
So
want to, I
it's
want
just
to, I just want to pause you for a sec because I don't have many personal clients,
okay.
because generally I work with business owners, but businesses are a collection of people, so it's the same skill set. But when I see someone come to me, and Shwan, you demonstrate because I worked a lot with in seminars and programs and groups of 200
Yeah,
people before that. So when an individual comes and says, "Listen, I need something I don't have, or I want something I don't have, and I want you to help me have it," and I can lean into my skill set and my knowledge, and I can absolutely produce that. But to see the benefit it gives somebody, money comes, I pay some bills, right?
yeah,
Money comes, you,
exactly.
you just pay some bills, and you move on, right? But what the compounded benefit is the quality of life. It's not just the work we did at the time, as we're demonstrating in this conversation. It's the long term compound of that benefit, and that's something that people say. And it's funny because I've been a little bit underground for a while. I've been a bit not underground. I said that to you earlier, and I said no, not
Yeah,
underground. I've been
hiding.
I've been doing my own thing. I've been doing my own thing. I've been hiding out in North Cyprus, enjoying my life, walking the beach, eating healthier, doing all that kind of stuff. But one thing that since I when I do the podcast or do this stand up that I've been doing lately, and I send the videos out, and suddenly people are coming out of the woodwork and they say, "Oh my God, you did this, we did this," and still, and we're going to expand that story a bit more in this conversation. It's such there's a poem called The Invitation by Oriah Mountain Dreamer, and what I'll do is I'll paste it under this video. And there's this last line is do you in the empty moments, do you like the company you keep? Can you be with yourself in life? And
Yeah,
there's a lot of people, and I think with this COVID era and now what we're coming into, this kind of World War III time that we're in, is can you be with yourself and do you like the company you keep? Can you, and I think you nailed it right at the beginning. Can you be true to yourself? And I think as long as you're true to yourself, whether you disappoint another, again, this is from the poem, can you disappoint another to be true to yourself? Is when you are disappointing another and you're true to yourself, it has integrity.
Yeah,
Even if I may say something or do something that for me acknowledges my higher self and it's operating from that level, you can still stand on it, even if it does have somebody else feel disappointed or you know you know experience something that's not pleasant. So I
yeah,
appreciate that. So to me, yeah, I've always pitched my services as an asset and something people get a return on. And because they, it's like anything. If you got staff in your business, or you buy a piece of machinery, or you put premises, all those expenses are for a return on investment. So the idea is, if you spend a hundred
exactly.
thousand, you want 130 back, or 100 whatever it is back you need back, and that's your profit. And anything in that 100 grand that isn't bringing you back profit, or is not contributing to the overall effectiveness of your business or operation, then it's worthy scrutiny. So I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you saying so.
No, no, you know, I'm just
That's
sharing
great.
an experience because I live by a value of people are there for one another, right? Do good, good comeback. People call it different things, right? And my wife sometimes says to me, "Look, you do too much," and I'm like, it makes me feel good. Doesn't matter if the other side acknowledges it or not. So, in the context of this conversation, despite the fact that we've not spoken in a long time, and it was really nice to connect with you last week after a long, long time. And it came out of just liking a video, right, on one of your social media platforms. um, we just reconnected. It just really does take in how valuable this relationship and the work that we did together has been and probably will be because I've grown from that, but I still use some of those key things that I picked up at that time. So I thought it's worth a mention just to whoever's listening to this.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So you went off, started selling cars, you had the breakthrough in that area, you made an investment in yourself, which is amazing. And then I get a call, I think it was about 18 months later. And I think you were
Yeah.
starting with that concept. So you phoned me 18 months later and you said, tell him what you said.
Yeah, I've been a very outgoing person, very spontaneous, and then suddenly I started getting, all these sort of panic attacks and anxiety and all the rest of it. And I remember I picked up the phone and I just said to you, Erkan, look, we've done some work in this space before, and I now need some help in, sort of overcoming what's going on in my head, right? And as we kind of said in the very beginning, you put your hands up and said, I'm not a mental health professional. I said it doesn't matter, right? I think we can just go through this journey and see where we land. And we did some work there around, sort of affirmations and what did I want out of life and various goals, etc., which you can probably do a lot more justice than me now, looking back at this. Um,
But
yeah, and then we
before,
started,
just before,
reconnecting.
just give us a flavor of what life was like. Because you come and you said to
Oh, it
me,
was tough.
you couldn't get on a bus, you couldn't get in the car.
Yeah, no bus, no train, no plane, didn't leave my area. I wouldn't go past, places I didn't know. I became very like sort of, I don't want to say introverted because I'm quite an extroverted person, but you know, you get to the space of sort of feeling bad for yourself and my family at the time I remember were quite worried like what's wrong, we need to go see a doctor. And in that sort of Middle Eastern culture it's sort of like the doctor solves everything, right? And it's like, well, actually no, because I don't have a cold.
No, but I think
you know
you said
it's
because
a
I
bit.
said, why don't you try this? And you've done it. Why don't you try
Yeah,
that? You said, done
yeah,
it.
I
I
did
tried.
CBT, which
Yeah.
is what the GP kind of referred at the time, which I don't want to knock it. Like, I've done loads of things I can before we met and after we met. It's a journey for
Hmm.
many, right?
Hmm.
And everyone it deals with it differently. Like some people go down the medication path, some people, go through, spending loads of time with, psychiatrists or, CBT or life coaches or, EMDR or there's like so many things in the space,
I,
which
I,
again,
yeah, but
you know,
I don't want to overrun you on this, but to me, you were desperate by the time you got to me,
yeah, it
and you
was
were like,
tough.
yeah, you'd been through a lot. I think it was large groups as well, like pubs and busy.
Yeah,
place
yeah, yeah.
you
Like,
couldn't go,
yeah.
and you were
I
like,
used to go to football stadiums, and then all of a sudden, like, I don't want to go anywhere near that crowd, and it's
and
like,
for me,
what happened to me?
yeah, no, exactly, because it was a real shock. Because I'd kind of sent you on your way in terms of our relationship. You come over as a very sociable person. You just wanted some new skills. You wanted, be more successful at work, and we knocked that out of the park, and off you went. Just you're on
Yeah,
your way. And then when you came back, I was like, wow, that's a shock. It was a shock
yeah,
for me, and also I didn't want to promise anything that I didn't feel. I,
100%.
I mean, I think I was very clear with you. Look, you really need to think about this. I'm happy to work with you, but
And that's why I said it twice. It's stuck in my head. I am not a mental health professional.
I say I'm not a mental health professional. But I'm happy. Well, I wasn't actually. I don't think I was that happy at the beginning.
No,
You
I
convinced
kind of
me.
convinced you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You
I said,
closed.
let's just
You
go and see where we
you
land.
you closed me, right? I was like,
Well,
yeah, I don't
actually,
know.
that's the relationship, though, right? That was the relationship that was built to say, look, I trust you enough in this space. I also trust you enough in this space, right? So
Yeah.
it's the importance of that openness and honestness and
It was,
being
it was,
there
I
for one
was very
another.
flattered as well. It was very flattering. It was very sincere and authentic. I mean, it wasn't like you were trying to, you just wanted help. You felt that you
Yeah.
tried all these different things and you felt I could help you. I wasn't sure, to be honest with you. I was like, look, okay,
What am
let's,
I doing?
yeah. I said, okay, we'll go slowly. I took my time with you and I really took it on as a personal mission because you
Challenge.
had a
Yeah.
goal. You had a goal. Do you remember the goal? Or you do remember?
Yeah.
Tell
I
us what the
had
goal was.
I had a very close friend of mine's wedding in Verona, and basically him and his whole family are very, very close, and to this day, like we're super close. So at the time, the agreement was we're going to go in a convoy of cars from London to Verona because we're being on the groom side. We've got to take all these speakers and like various bits and bobs to this destination and have this wedding. So what that meant was, and it sounds simple to some, right? And
No,
everybody's sort of different on their journey. But for me, what that meant was getting in a car, going outside of my comfort zone, like motorways and areas I don't know and so on and so forth, jumping on a ferry,
yeah,
right,
that
across the
was it.
pond
It was
to
cars,
Europe, you
ferries,
know,
tunnels.
and driving through, like some unreal places like the Mont Blanc Tunnel and what have you. We drove through France, Italy, Switzerland to get to Italy. And it was probably one of the most incredible trips of my life. I saw things that, I would highly recommend to anybody that loves to go on road trips to go and do that trip. Like,
Mm.
but for me, every little step was actually a big hurdle. It was not yeah, it's just a 6 hour drive or a 12-hour drive or a 2 day drive. It wasn't like that. It was,
But again, let's just stop for a sec
you
because
know,
when you come, look at it this way. Look at it from here. Someone comes to you and says, "I can't go out. I can't get on a bus. I can't get on a tube. I can't go in crowded places. I've got anxiety and I want to do this trip." I was like, "Okay, it's good."
and it wasn't far away.
It wasn't. I think we had
It
what,
wasn't far
two,
away.
3 months to get the job done. It wasn't long.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
long. It
it
was
was like
like, I've lost all hope, and if we don't go on this, then I'm not going. And it was like, I can't not go because of the relationship with this family. Like they're basically like my family. So,
yeah, and
I
then I
can't
think
not go.
if
We
I'm
have to
right,
go.
correct me if I'm wrong. It was then you were going to return by plane.
Then we returned by plane. You're right.
So it's like
So I
the
basically did it
planes,
all.
trains, automobiles, tunnels, and I'm like, and this guy can't get on a bus right now. He can't go out of the house, right? And
Yeah.
I remember we were working, and I think we used to meet up sometimes. We'd sit face to face, and other times we just did it on the phone. I can't remember. Did we have Zoom back
Yeah.
then? Don't think we did. But
No, no, I can't. Yeah.
we used to meet
Can't,
in
I,
North
I
London,
can't
didn't we?
remember all the details. It's
Yeah,
been a
yeah.
long time,
I
Erkan.
remember
But
taking you
yeah.
out in my car once, and we had the roof down, and
Yeah.
oh, I remember one thing. We was doing this thing about interpretation, and
Oh yeah.
they were driving along, and you said, "Well, that guy just cut you up." And I said, "Perfect. He cut me up, or did he change lane?" And you went, "He,
Cut you up.
he I said, "Well, in my world, he changed lane, and he didn't indicate, right?" So it was that it was getting this, this internalizing your environment and your experience to one that empowered you, as opposed to one that, because getting cut up by someone is very different to someone changing lane. It's a very different has a
The
different
road rage, man.
totally exactly it's how people get into fights, and we were just building this muscle because the other good thing, and this has happened quite a few times for me, is I've worked with clients for a period, they go away, they come back, I've worked with them, they go away, I'll come back with them, or I've had clients I've worked with for like 10 over 10 years. So it's kind of like you think, well, what you got to work with after 10 years? There's always a breakthrough, and it is matched
100%.
by your ambition and what you want to achieve. Because if you reach a place in your plateau and you're happy, maybe there's something about keeping that balance. But generally, the people that I work with have got challenges or opportunities or something they want to work towards. So your
Next level.
goal
Yeah.
at this time was to overcome the anxiety. I don't know if it was. I don't looking back. Would we have called it depression, anxiety, a phobia of getting
All of those
it was
things.
all of
Yeah,
the
all of
above,
those
right? Like
things.
I said, it wasn't so I would have diagnosed, but in the end, you did the whole thing, and you've got that, you've banked that in your life,
Yeah.
and I was so proud of you. I mean, even now, I'm just saying I've got goosebumps because
Yeah.
it was a joint effort. It wasn't like just for those listening, if you're thinking of working with me, it's not like I do it to you. You've got to
Yeah.
be involved. It's not like it's a joint effort to achieve something that's important for you. It isn't me going, because if it's just information transfer, I'd go, here you go, read this book, watch this video,
Yeah.
off you go.
It's not.
It's not like that. It's a
Yeah.
lot more it's a lot
And
more integrated.
and on that, right, it is a team effort. Like I want people to kind of also really appreciate that, right? Like the relationship is me and you, right? But it's also everyone around you as well, right?
Mm.
Because if you're going on a journey that you're talking about and saying, I am going on this journey and I feel this way and I'm learning X and Y, and you're sharing that with, let's say just your loved ones, right? So going back to this experience of, sort of the mental health challenges, right? I remember on the day I also decided I'm not going, right? And it was like 4 a.m. My best friend came to knock for me, right? Door opens up. My dad was like, okay, you're not sleeping home tonight. Go outside. My mom took my suitcase, gave it to him, closed the door, and said, you're going on this journey, right? I remember I called you on the ferry and said, I'm on the ferry, mate. I actually made it, right? But it's these small things like my mom and dad, for example, my family, they knew what I was trying to do with yourself, right? We
Mm.
built up to it. You're not gonna flop now. You can go sleep outside,
Yeah,
right? I'm on this journey and I'm
tough
like,
love. Yeah.
excuse my language, but like I'm like, not good, and I power through. And again, it's like here's a road sign that says, for example, I'm like 10 miles away. 10 miles not long, 15 minutes, right? It's like how you start to rather than I'm 60 miles away, that might be an hour and a half, and you're like, oh my God, I'm getting overwhelmed. So it's these small things, and your friend helping you, your parents pushing you, spending a lot of time with yourself, Erkan, and understanding like, it's not somebody cutting me up, it's somebody just changing lanes. Maybe they don't know where they're going, right? Maybe they're lost, right?
Mm.
It's all of these combinations, but the work is so important because it starts to shift your mentality and mindset, right? The work is, allowing you to see a change in lane rather than I need to follow this guy and beep him all the way home, right?
Terrifying
Like,
moment.
yeah. So it really is about how you also buy into this idea. Like, you go home and you're happy because you've achieved something. Your parents are going to be happy because they see you or your wife or your kids or whoever. So I think it's not to your point, here's a book, go read it. You got to really believe in it. You got to really want it, and you will see the benefits because I've seen it and I've got photos to prove it if you like, and phone calls as well,
Yeah.
to say, hey,
So
I'm on this
so
ferry.
so there was these two stages, and these are quite a while now. So here we are now in 2026, April.
Yeah,
You're married.
married.
Your beautiful daughter, who you said I've seen a photo. She's stunning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you so much.
beautiful. You've got
Two
beautiful
and a half, yeah.
you're living. I think you said to me you helped your parents with a house. You're working in the financial sector. So how's life now? How does it? I think you said something to me about what you said to your wife every time you go past the South Ealing tube. That's where we.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I forgot. But yeah, so there was
let's
this.
talk about that.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk
Yeah.
about that. So
So one of the things that we did, again, it's about like sort of exposure therapy, if you like, right? Which was we've done enough talking. Let's actually do it together, right? And it's another thing I won't forget because, you know, which I don't know, let's say which therapist or CBT person or psychology person or whatever will come with you and say, actually, I'm going to hold your hand and we're going to go do this together, right?
Mm.
None of them, right? But you and I, we met up, we drove to a station, we built out a route for a couple of stops. We got on the tube together, right? Went for a couple of stops and then came back and it was like, well, there we go. We've just done it, right? And again, it's about like doing what we've been saying.
Mm.
So it's like reaffirming these thoughts and ideas that actually you've just done this, right? You could have gotten off. You didn't. You stayed on. You're on it and you're fine, right? So you build on that experience and keep doing it more and more and more rather than, oh, it's a one time, let's tick the box. Yeah, yeah, we're done. And the next day you can't do it. So, I take a lot of, sort of, I take a lot of that experience with me across different parts of my life.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember getting you on the. I'm thinking, what the fuck am I? What the fuck am I doing? I've got. Well, if he has a pay, whatever. Like you got to think from my point of view.
Yeah.
I'm out.
You don't know what you don't know.
I don't, I have a commitment. I have a commitment. I've got the skill sets I've got, but it's just not like, and I'm checking in like, should I be doing this? Should I be doing this? And I just felt, you know what, it's the right thing to do. And I remember getting on the tube with you, and I was looking at you, you looking at me. I'm like, I hope he doesn't freak out now. And then how am I going to explain this? Like, oh, well, you're crazy. You never do that with people with this, you know.
Yeah.
And then I think we went somewhere, and then I got off the tube. We both got off, and
Yeah.
you went and came back, something like
Yeah.
that. So I did with we did
Yeah.
the handhold a couple of times, I think, if I remember. And then
Yeah.
I said, right now you're on your own. This is the
Yeah.
and you went and did that, and you come back, and I just remember looking at you thinking, not so much, I just thinking more about myself a little bit, like, thank God I didn't kill him, or who knows? You could have
Yeah.
a heart
You
attack,
never
you could
know.
have panicked, you could
Yeah.
have, So that was an amazing experience, man. And I hold it very dear to my heart, and
Yeah.
now I can look back at it and just think, what an amazing
Yeah.
time to be there with you. And so life now, you're in financial sector. So we'll kind of start to round off the conversation because I know it's a Sunday, and so you're very happy in your career. You're in London.
Still in London. And I'm going to bring it back to our first experience, Erkan, right? I remember in our first experience, as part of wanting to do well and sell cars, we wrote these goals down, right? And back then I said, as any kid, I want 1 million quid. I want to buy a house. I want this. I want that, right? And I remember we wrote these things down, right? And, I don't say this 16, 17 years later, and I don't want the audience to kind of, feel a type of way. However, what I can say is I've basically ticked every box from 16, 17 years ago, right? And this isn't about showing off. You know me, I'm very humble,
Yeah.
right? But, for those that don't know me well, I 10 years old, I had liver cancer while
Mhm.
we came to the UK. My parents were very, very comfortable, sold up everything back home, came to the UK just so that I can get my treatment. So in my mind, I needed to give back, even though in their mind and in my mind today, right? My daughter wanted anything, I'll give her my life, right? But I guess from when the shoe's on the other foot, you're kind of thinking, well, I actually want to give back because they love me so much. I want to give back. So, my mom's got her own house now. When I bought it in her name, right? Here's your gift, mum. My dad unfortunately passed away, so he didn't get to see it. But in my mind, he's still with me and he knows what I've done for the family. And work's going really well. I've been in finance, as I say, for 12 years plus. I've made VP where I am. I'm on a decent wage, married, daughter, have my own place. Um, it's all stuff that we kind of wrote on a piece of paper a long time ago. And it sounds crazy because I touched on this earlier. People say, I'm going to pay X amount. It's going to be making me out of pocket, right? That's one mindset. But the other mindset is actually I'm investing in myself and we'll see where this journey takes us. And you buy into it. And, you know, it didn't take me the whole 15, 16 years. That's how long it took for us to reconnect, if you like.
Yeah.
But, as of just before COVID, I can say I ticked a lot of those boxes off, so um, I really do value everything we've done, and I don't see why we can't keep coming back and doing more bits together because it's about iterative development, right? Rather than, you know, here you go, thank you very much, I've closed this deal, see you later. That's not how life works. Not with your neighbor, not with your family, not with your friends. There's always something that, you know, can be done, or, you can be better to them, nicer in your own words, or, you know, treat people nicer or give them more of your time, whatever it is, right? This is no different in my mind. It's about how do you continue to grow as a person, not just the gray hairs, right? The gray hairs come, that's fine. That's age. Yeah.
That's the
I've
reward.
gelled it so you don't see, and I
Yeah,
got a
well, I've
haircut
got
just for you as
coconut
well.
oil in mine. So listen, I want
But
to,
yeah,
I don't know if that's, look, Mister, I couldn't ask you to say anything lovelier than what you just said. Thank you for the acknowledgement. I'm open to doing new things, exciting things. People come to me with different projects, and if we can work again or work within your, I don't know, whatever, we'll leave that for another day. That'll be,
yeah, we'll
that's,
talk about that
that's something you've opened up, which I'm
offline.
totally open to. I want to thank you for being a testimony to the work we did. I mean, looking at it, it was, well, you say it was over 6 months, but it was 6 sessions. It was like, yeah, 6 sessions, 12 sessions we're talking about,
Yeah,
and that's what you extracted. And I remember once someone said
yeah,
to me, "How are you going to guarantee me my results?" Yeah, and I looked at her and said, "Do you just listen to yourself? Listen to yourself. You guarantee your results. I guarantee to help you to get your results. I don't get your results.
yeah.
No,
It's
you.
not their,
It's not my job.
it's not your journey, it's my
It's not
journey,
my. It's your
right?
journey to get it. I'm
Yeah.
just going to support and empower you and tap you in the right direction to get those results. And I think that you've proved overwhelmingly proved what an amazing return on investment is, what courage it takes, and allowing and having me be part of that was a privilege, and I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, man. I,
Uh,
I loved it. Still talk about it with my wife.
any last words before we sign off?
No, let's just be better at staying in contact. You are a very big part of my life, despite how, we don't talk every day, every week, but it was an incredible experience. To whoever's listening, I would say go into this, with an open mind as a relationship, not as a transaction, right? And you will, I'm sure, see, your goals come to life because I have, in the most humble way, but you got to believe in it. It's not something that's, as you say, going to buy a can of Coke and drinking it. No, you got to, go on that journey. Like, what is it that I'm actually trying to do? Work with him. The more you give, the more you take out, right? Like, I became very vulnerable to say, I'm struggling. I am broken. I'm mentally just not there. Like, all those things. The more you open up, the more you kind of allow yourself to, you know, stitch up those small bits and actually come back and go in the direction you want to go. The more you withhold, you're not going to get, if you like, the full benefit. So it's about relationships and being open and developing. So I just encourage anyone who's looking to work with Erkan like myself, give it your all and you'll definitely, definitely get it back. I've seen it with my own eyes and I'm an experience to that.
Lovely, thank you. I appreciate that, and thank you for getting a haircut for the show. I'll get one for you. So on that note, listen, if you like what Shwan has said, get in touch and I'd love to speak to you, discuss your project or opportunity or challenge. I am back out in the world. Like I said, I'll be doing some stand up. I'm going to put some links on that. I'll put the invitation link, the poem below this. And last thing to do is just say thank you very much for your time, Shwan. Appreciate it.
Thank you for
Okay.
having me, man. Pleasure. Take care.
Take care, everyone. All right. And cut. Brilliant.
And cut.
That's
That was
lovely.
really nice.
Teşekkür ederim.
Yeah. I meant
Thanks.
every word.
Yeah, I got it, man. I appreciate it, really.